Good day to you.
Good day, good day. How are you, Ethan?
Perfect, and you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Ethan, since we have, I believe we have a few new people here and our message been going out, I would really appreciate if before we go ahead with today's message, we'll have a little recap and reintroduce yourself to the audience.
We are the idea of the same species as the Bashar. He is the lead of our people in this interactions. I am a member of the first contact team that is here on Earth right now, helping you as a people to grow and change and expand your awareness into the level where you can start interacting with us as beings. We are quasi physical in nature. I am part of the Sasani civilization. I am on my ship because we know this is a question that many of you ask. While we are going through the process of helping to elevate your species to be able to actually connect to us and have interactions with our species, we are here to help you all grow and change beyond what you know and who you know and what you've gone through as a species in your collective resonant signature. So we are here to help you in this time of transition.
Thank you very much. Let me recap this. You are an extraterrestrial.
Yes,
You are currently, I imagine you're in your ship,
yes.
and the ship is where, please?
We are currently still located over your North American North Pole area. We are acting as a balancing mechanism for that particular vortex on the northern end of your planet.
Thank you. And you are from the
Sasani
Sasani
civilization.
civilization and from the
Yes,
Sasani planet.
yes,
Very good. Thank you very much for reintroducing yourself. Uh,
gladly.
Today's subject, as you have telepathically sent to the channel, is story, what's your story?
Yes. The idea of what we have to share with you today at this time. As you move through your day, you tell yourself various stories as to why your life does not function, why your life is not moving forward. If you really sit down and really look at these particular stories that you tell yourself on a regular basis to say that I am not worthy, I am destroying myself, these are merely just stories. These are things that you tell yourself that you are not worthy, that you are destroying your life. These are a lie. Because many of these types of stories come from the negative ego that causes you to believe them because they come through such a aspect that is not being used and utilized in a proper way. So these kinds of stories that you as a being live through and decide whether or not you would like to expand on or experience, these are the kinds of stories that each of you have decided to buy into to have your idea of physical reality as to how you would like to experience life. No one's going to stop you from having these experiences, but the idea that we would like to address to you and share with you is to really look at your stories, whether it's the past or what you're telling yourself about the future. Those little things that you address to yourself saying, I am not worthy. This is lies. All of it is merely a lie that you tell yourself. When you allow yourself to be fully integrated and fully connected to who you are and what you are, many of these kind of stories will fade away with time. But you have to allow yourself to let go of these previous stories.
Thank you very much. I'll ask a question from deep inside Plato's cave.
Yes,
We grew up in a certain society. We exposed to certain messages, and until internet, which is recently,
yes,
the communication was one to many. Um,
yes,
So a lot of people didn't even know they're in a story because they had nothing to relate to.
Well, this is the idea we are bringing to you, the expansion of your particular stories that you sell yourself and allow yourself to believe, because these are the things that have been held in place for generations to tell you that all of you are not worthy, that you are meant to stay in the cave, to stay blind to the light, the existence of your being.
Yes.
So, as you move forward through your life and your story and your understanding of the world, you are shown the light in a way that is applicable for you to be able to come out, crawling on your hands, as it were, and allow yourself to see the things that are around you in a more clear, open way that most would not be able to handle. Many of you have been told that you are crazy for looking at things. This itself is a lie.
Yes. 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 It's interesting what you just said. I've had this week, today's Thursday,
Yes.
um, two interactions where I was blunt with people and honest with them, and I didn't sugarcoat it. And one hung up the phone at me, and the other I forget, but they're not happy. And I said, "Well, you shouldn't say that." I said, "But this is the truth, and you know it. And I'm not saying it against you. It's just this is what it is."
The truth will set you free, but first it's going to piss you off.
Yeah.
This is the lie. Many people have bought into lies that they tell themselves, lies that they've been told from the time they were children, to say that their future is meant to be one specific way.
Yes, I see that. There's another process here that I want to highlight,
Yes,
and this is from my own experience, but I'm sure it's shared by other humans because we're all similar in this way. When I started to realize the stories I tell myself,
yes,
which has to do with guilt, shame, self-victimization, throwing the blame on others, not owning to your own shit, I
yes,
really have to make a decision whether I own it and I accept responsibility for everything that's happening in my life, even if it may seem that it's from the other person, versus blame the other world. And I still see a lot of people, especially here in Toronto, because life is so comfortable in a way,
yes.
easy to blame others.
Because they've bought into a victim mentality.
Yes.
When they project everything outside of themselves, they see the world separate from themselves. So it is much easier for many people to just project outside of themselves the reality that they are living in, instead of being the arbiter, the source of their reality in all way, shapes, and forms.
Right, because how can you have any fear, anxiety, or depression, past, present, future abnormalities when you own the moment?
Yes. When you own your power, when you own your way of moving through the world, how could you ever believe a negative aspect of yourself in that way?
Or in others, correct?
Well, when you can see in another person the stories that they are telling themselves that are false, many times for you humans to be able to actually live the way, live fully in the moment, fully into your expression of who you are, and to be in physical reality, you need to tell yourself a certain amount of stories to anyways, or else you wouldn't actually believe the full experience.
Right. That's a good one.
But you are also moving into a new age where these past stories, these past paradigms, these past themes that you have played out over thousands of years are no longer applicable.
Right. Yes, yes, yes. I see that. It's as if what was then, and at the moment it seems so great and controlling, and now you look at it just a joke. It means nothing anymore.
Yes, the idea of many of these stories that you have told yourself in your civilization seem absurd in comparison in today's world, correct?
Absolutely.
Because you are moving beyond the level where those particular stories, much in the way if you buy into the idea of conspiracy theories, that the world is out to get you, that the world is going to destroy every aspect of yourself, we would ask you to really look at the stories of fear that come along with these particular people. Many
Mm.
times, when people espouse the idea of fear controlling you, controlling your whole world, controlling everyone around you, many times these types of people are in nature trying to control you because they don't believe in themselves and their own power. So they have to steal it from others.
That's true. Is that true for people that take jobs at like the guy that walks around and give tickets to other cars?
Yes,
Okay. Yeah. The guy can say, "I must have a job," and then they take this job that inflicts pain on others. But if
yeah,
nobody took the job of ticketing others, I'm sure we'll get along still.
yes. But many times in your world at this time, these types of jobs are mainly there to produce income for the cities and the municipalities that they are in.
Yes, 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 absolutely. It's money generating. That's true.
Yes,
We have some questions for the audience, if that's okay.
yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, but I hear a bit of background noises, but I hope it's not too bad. Okay. It must be okay. Lars is asking, is there anything in the energy and vibration about Scandinavians that you can tell about?
The particular vibration that moves along the area that you refer to as Scandinavian in nature is one that connected to a species that is at a higher frequency that came to Earth and mixed with your population.
Hmm.
So you are carrying out the particular ideas of those civilizations that joined with humans.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Could you be a bit more specific at say a few things that the Scandinavian people would carry from that culture?
They have, at the time when they joined with Earth and in that particular region, they were moving through the idea of learning to fully embrace their higher vibrational frequency. We can tell you that the particular civilization that actually brought that to Earth has actually moved to a higher frequency. You are playing out the last aspects of that particular theme at this time.
It's like they're echoing that previous culture.
Yes,
I see.
because remember, you humans have been hybridized many times. You have many different species inside of you that show you and inform the way you look. Because if you weren't hybridized, you would look much different than you do now.
Right. 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 Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. It's just what it is.
It's the vehicle that you choose to play out as a human at this time.
When you say you choose out, do you mean when a soul before a soul incarnates, or is it
Yes, yes. You all choose to be here.
when someone? Actually, I just had this conversation with my two neighbors less than an hour ago, and the one lady said she met someone, another lady, who told her that she had a clear memory of sitting at a round table with other people, guides of sorts,
Yes,
contemplating and discussing what she would be when she incarnates on Earth. And she
yeah,
claims that she remembers it.
yes. This is going to become very common for many humans on this planet in the coming years.
Would the people suddenly remember that, or like the veil would lift, or only the newborn ones will have this ability?
All of you,
All of us.
because you're going through a level of restitution, a level of allowing yourself to remember things and allowing yourself to be fully aware of your choices in your incarnations. You are going through a time period where you're starting to remember these things. Not just the children, but they come in with a leg up because they don't forget as much, but adults as well.
So people will start remembering past lives, for example.
Well, they're not past in that aspect, but other incarnations, yes.
And they would remember the moment they made the decision to come to Earth as a non physical soul and then to incarnate physically.
Potentially. But remember, those lifetimes that you do remember, they are connected to the particular theme that you're finishing up or you're playing out at this time, that are allowing you to fully integrate and fully work out the rest of the karma that went along with that particular theme in the other incarnation.
Could you explain a bit more about the last sentence, by the integration? I missed that.
And many times, the types of incarnations that you've had on your planet for thousands of years, you play out particular themes. And when you leave a lifetime and you have decided, I did not quite work out what I needed to in that lifetime, I think I need to have another lifetime where I experience a very similar theme.
Right.
That's what you refer to as karma.
Okay, okay, okay.
It's
And,
just a recognition of balance. It's just a recognition that you, as a person, still have things to work on. Just to let you know, it never ends.
no, it never does. Thank you. And what happens when I guess once you pass over, then you can look back at your life and say, maybe I have completed my mission, and then I choose a new theme.
Well, you may choose to play out more of that particular theme, but you do have guides, you do have councils, do have a group of people that help you decide what themes are applicable for the lifetime you're about to move into. You have a whole planning session that says, I need to work on this more. Many of you have been men for many lifetimes, so you decide to balance that out by coming into Earth as a woman. Many of you have been a woman many times, and you're saying, my body does not quite match what I'm normally used to. So you decide to incarnate as a man. But many people, because they do remember much more of their previous incarnations, previous times of being on Earth, they're resisting this aspect of themselves because they think they look different than what they normally look like because they chose to come through as a man.
And the soul still identifies more as a woman because they were females in more incarnations.
Yes.
Does a soul have a gender?
No.
But that mind does see itself more on a female side of the spectrum.
Well, that is just from a certain point of view. As a soul, as a being of pure energy, pure essence, you have both natures. It's just more of the creator energy that comes through that you experience when you are interacting with souls. You have both types, you have both energies. They both act as a balancing mechanism for one or the other.
Thank you. We see these days, especially here in Toronto, Canada, a lot of fluidity between the genders,
Yes,
uh, more than I've ever seen.
yes.
What is the reason for that?
You are expressing the idea of being more in spirit, but physicalizing that experience. You are experiencing the idea of integrating those different aspects of yourself, whether it's male or female, in the physical body as that fluid nature of expressing yourself as a soul, but more fluidly into the physical form as well.
Okay, I see. So it's a soul expression taking physical matter through the body and the identity of the person.
Yes, but you are also expressing particular ideas of other incarnations that you've had.
Okay. Thank you. How does one find out more about the theme? Which part of the theme, like where the progress, any of this stuff? Is it possible?
The particular themes that you are playing out in your lifetime, ask yourself what are the major hurdles or the major problems that you experience in your life. Typically, those will be the major themes that you're playing out in your lifetime.
I see.
But you can also be playing out the idea of empowerment. And many times people will go through the idea of disempowerment, of they are not worthy, they are not good enough. So they will play out the idea of being treated horribly by people around them. so they can gain the idea of self empowerment, of gaining strength, gaining full validity of who they are as a person, and being fully cohesive when they approach the world in a more cohesive way.
Thank you. I see what you mean, but I have to tell you, here in Toronto, life is quite comfortable. Even prices went up quite a bit. It's still very comfortable life here. And it
Yes,
almost seems to me, because I'm an immigrant here,
yes.
that people here, some allow themselves to self-victimize because they can, because there's always some sort of support. So they may not have to get up and do what they got to do to make sure they have roof over their heads, because that's supplied, the food is supplied to a point.
Well, they are buying into a story. This is why the idea of story, what's your story, was delivered to the channel. Because many humans have bought into the idea of victimization for lifetimes, for thousands of years. And you are finishing up that theme. It's just very rough as you go through that particular evolution.
Yes. But it's not possible to ascend and to accept full responsibility for your own life and situation without letting go of all these other things. It's just not possible. And we can't we can't have full landing unless we reach that point, can we?
No, you cannot.
Yeah.
The idea of fully self empowered and being fully empowered in your nature of who you are comes from fully owning who you are.
So we as individuals and as a society have to start owning to our own power.
Yes,
And by that I mean being responsible for our environment, whether it's the immediate or it's my city or my country that I live in.
yes,
So I do see more citizen involvement and more people wanting to and curious about how things are run and where my tax money goes and why am I paying
yes,
so many taxes and so on and so forth. I believe that's part of it.
yes.
Yeah,
This is a particular theme and a particular idea that you are playing out as a world.
right.
To look at power and decide whether or not it is being allowed to function in the way that it has, owning the power and owning the government, owning your government as a reflection of you, understanding that that is part of who you are. So you need to take on those particular themes and those particular stories that come along with owning your power.
Yes.
It's not negative in that aspect, but it is there to help guide you down the path.
Absolutely. I don't see it as negative at all. But it is could be a bit hurting the ego going through that.
Yes. But like we said before, the idea of the ego itself for many thousands of years has been overloaded. It is doing a job it was never designed for.
Yes. I have a couple of questions for you here, Ethan.
Yes.
Rico Sigma is NZT in the Limitless movie alternative available?
No, not in the way that you think. It is more of an expanded awareness state that allows you to fully expand into who you are. It is just a permission slip, much like all the pills are that you have in your society, to be able to actually fully be yourself. That is the true nature of that particular symbol that you have manifested into your reality as a collective culture. That in itself is just saying, I would like to fully be myself.
Thank you.
It's much more simple if you just break it down into basic concepts and basic themes. Instead of thinking you need to go outside of yourself to be fully yourself, you can expand out into those particular themes whenever you need to. But when you fully embody the nature of who you are as a person, as a being, you are quite smart. You're quite expanded in your awareness and your being. But that's what that particular permission slip is there to do, is to teach you to be fully yourself.
Thank you. Diamond Mind is asking, Ethan, what are your thoughts on life path numbers?
Life path numbers are merely symbols that give you a general theme that you are choosing to play, a particular role that you are playing in that particular lifetime, but you can change the roles as you go along.
Thank you.
They are reflective. That's all they are.
Okay, I see. I heard a numerology speaking of cycle of 9. So you take your age, you divide by 9, and whatever the
Yes,
remainder is. So 1 is a new beginning, 9 is the closure.
yes. You are going through a cycle.
Right.
What happens when one cycle ends?
It finishes and the other one starts.
Yes. So therefore, you are just working through a particular theme. You can break it down in those simple terms. It's your choice.
Thank you.
Remember, anytime we deliver information to you as a people, as you understand it or see things, we are just reminding you of the power that you already entail and already embody as a civilization.
Do you see us moving into more of a connected, synchronized civilization?
Yes, we wouldn't be here otherwise.
That's good. There's a lot of these big words flying around, World War III, all that stuff. I don't sense it myself. Are we at any risk of it?
You are close in a way, but as a full collective, no. They are trying to push you down a particular path of fear, of destruction, of destroying yourselves.
Yes. And you've mentioned before, and because we probably have new audience today, you've mentioned that in any case that any nuclear head would be launched, what would happen?
We would stop it.
And we have seen videos of saucer-shaped UFOs zipping around the rock and it just falls apart.
Yes. This is the idea.
Very good.
Remember, when it comes to nuclear weapons, nuclear war, or that level of release of energy, that affects much more than just you on Earth. That affects other realities as well.
Thank you. And thank you for
But we
doing
are
that.
here going through the process with you to help you grow, help you expand in your awareness and your vibration and your frequency. We don't waste our time.
Very good. I have a question from Antonio Pierce, the Pirates.
Yes,
Yeshua said, nothing is real, not even the universe. Can you explain?
your experience of it. Purely everything is an illusion or a dream unto itself. It is a level of awareness beyond what you perceive in your physical reality. You think everything around you is real because you can feel it, because you can see it. You are using your own energy to create that reality.
Thank you. Diamond Mind. If you don't know what to do or where to turn, what is the best option?
Turn inwards. Look inwards and see what stories you are telling yourself. Allow yourself to be fully aware of what experiences you are going through, and allow yourself to be fully aware and look at these things that have been put in front of you. They're all just stories in nature, anyways.
Yes. Thank you.
When you buy into them fully, you give them power. You give them the full expression of the world is coming to an end. It is not. Besides, you are an eternal, infinite being. What's your rush?
Thank you. That's very comforting. I had an experience this week that I wanted to share with you and perhaps get your comments on. It's a pretty simple experience. I have an extra freezer in my place because the apartment freezer is very small. And I was thinking to myself, if it happened to me before that the power went out and all the food in the fridge went bad. It just happened to me recently. So I thought to myself, well, if I have enough cold frozen food in there, then probably it's good for a long time because there's a big body of ice in there, of frozen whatever.
Yes.
So, and then I realized that the freezer is only half full. So I thought maybe I have some sort of a water container, and I fill some water in it. And if I have enough of those, it'll just take enough space and become ice and save the food in case this power outage, which is quite common actually here in the city, will happen. Okay, so but I couldn't find the right bottle, and yesterday or the day before, I just went in. Questioning what bottle could I use that would not crack or rip, because it's. And then I opened my eyes and I was holding a bottle, and that was the bottle, and I started to laugh.
Yes. You will be given everything that you need in the moment.
Please explain a bit more about that process.
You were attracted to the idea of needing something, so it appeared for you.
It was absolutely perfect.
Yes. We exist in perfect synchronicity. We understand the world this way. We understand reality, that everything shows up exactly when it needs to in every moment. You just experienced that particular thing. It synchronistically showed up to you exactly when and where and how it needed to.
Thank you. And it did not take very long. I mean, from the moment I said that call out to find the right bottle that will not crack when it's iced, it was literally in my hand.
Yes, that's the point. Reality is very magical when you let it be. It's not complicated. It's only as complicated as you let it be.
Yes. Well, we humans like to complicate things.
Are you having fun with that?
At times.
You find enjoyment in losing these things and losing your mind?
I think at times we do.
Yes,
Yeah. There's
that is
some.
the idea. The more simple you can make the expression of your time in the way you move through the world, instead of buying into the idea of destruction, desperation, and the world falling apart, the happier you'll be. As many times these types of stories lock you up and make you believe more fully into the idea of physical reality being even real.
Right. Very good. Okay. I'll go to the next question here. Rico Sigma. Are there deep underground pneumatic trains?
Yes. What good does that do you, knowing that?
That was Rico's question.
No, this is our question back to them. By knowing this one thing, what good is that doing you? Is it improving your life in knowing that there are people plotting to throw the world into chaos? The less you buy into the idea of the world being horrible, the better you will be off. Buying into these particular themes and these particular old ways of thinking only puts you in a place where you are buying into a story that is not serving you.
Right.
We do not mean to be harsh, as it were, in our delivery of this type of information. We more ask you these simple questions to get you to think differently about how you approach your world.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I don't find it harsh at all. And I don't believe my audience does either. But you're right. To what extent does someone's beliefs create or manufacture or malleable their existence, their reality?
Completely. Your whole reality is just belief systems. It's just stacked on top of each other, and they expand to a point where your reality is going to fall apart. at least the negative stories that you've been telling yourself or buying into.
Okay, there's a lot amount of cognitive dissonance that we have to go through in order to break through these glass ceilings.
You have the idea of ascension, correct?
Yes,
You understand this idea.
yes.
As you work through this particular idea and this particular way of being, you have to let go of those old stories.
Very good. 1 second, please. Oh, I see. Nai G, good day. I wanted to know if it may be fair to say that all we perceive as reality, even dream, is all metaphor. Is it all metaphor?
Yes, it is all metaphor in nature. It is all metaphor in your way of being and who you are. You are looking at things from a point of view of, I am uncovering a mystery. Reality is, you are part of the story. You are part of your experience as to how you want to approach your reality.
Thank you, Ethan. Ethan, in 4 5 rules, the first one that you exist, there's isness.
Yes, existence has only one quality, it exists.
Yes. How does that isness relate to my projection of reality, my
It
emotions
means
regarding
you
it?
exist on every level, every point of view, every reality that you can perceive, and even many realities you can't perceive. In other incarnations, you exist and you always will exist.
Say if myself and another person standing right next to me look out the window at the same object or building across the street, would our reality be the same or slightly different?
Different. You're not ever actually looking at the exact same thing. You have many people that tell stories of how they experienced reality a very particular way, and then another person who was there with you in nature, they saw it completely different. In their reality, that's what happened.
Thank you. One second, please. Okay. Dolores Cornea. When we dream of a visit from a deceased loved one, is it also a metaphor or a real visit?
That's a real visit journal. Those types of things happen on many different levels. It's not just the physical reality that you are experiencing currently. You do experience these things on much higher levels that are beyond what you can actually perceive as humans. The things that you perceive from your dreams are merely those things that you could actually interpret into your physical reality.
Thank you. The amount of information that we receive from our environment,
Yes,
how is that processed and filtered exactly?
you process them through your belief systems.
Right, right, right.
You take in as much as you can actually experience and as much as is necessary for you to play out the particular theme of your reality, of the particular theme you are working through at that moment.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you very much. Phase 312 ID. Can a person's physical appearance change significantly if this person starts experiencing new reality?
Yes, you will shift to a reality or a appearance that matches the particular vibration and the frequency that you're putting out.
Yes.
Many of you have looked at the channel as he is actually channeling me through him and other beings. His appearance shifts. because he is taking on more of the vibration, the frequency of the beings that he is actually channeling. So therefore, his facial structure changes to morph to that particular frequency that more matches the appearance of the being that he is actually channeling.
Thank you. That's a good example. I've experienced myself looking at the mirror and then seeing myself and then realizing that's not the person I want to be, and then coming back a minute or two later and there's a whole other person in there.
Yes, because you were looking through a portal.
A portal?
Yes, all mirrors are portals to other versions of you. You are not just looking at your reflection, you are looking at another version of you in another reality that's doing the exact same thing.
And when I go back to the mirror, thank you. And when I go back to the mirror and then I see a slightly different version of me, what happened?
You shifted to a reality where you were getting that reflection. You're shifting constantly. I mean, constantly. All times, all days, everywhere.
Thank you. Ethan, I saw this discussion about time
Yes.
this week. Time only exists in the physical dimension. Is that correct?
Yes, when you shift up to a much higher frequency into the more fourth density, the idea of non-linearity is what you typically experience. There is some level of linearity when you're having discussions with people, but in actuality, because you are at a much higher frequency, beyond the physical form of third density, you experience time and space in a more fluid way. So if you need to experience you at 300 years old, or you need to experience time as you at 5 years old, it's just a flip of your frequency.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I see that. So if I wanted to go back and be a 5-year-old, I'm just there. And if I want to be a 7-year-old, I'm just there.
Yes. Understand that that level of existence is exactly how I experience reality. You are
Yes.
speaking to different versions of me as we speak through this particular conversation.
Thank
You
you. You
notice,
know that. Yeah.
you notice as we speak differently at different points, that we accentuate the different things that need to be understood by your people.
Yes.
The way we refer to you and our understanding, and what aspect of ourself is more important to bring forward to connect to you.
Thank you. I appreciate your teaching style.
Yes, we adapt our teaching to whoever needs it.
Thank you. Right. So when I return, when I pass over, I can
Transition.
bring back the life I'm
Transition.
living
When you
now. Yeah.
transition,
Sorry.
when you transition,
Transition.
you're
When
never not there in reality.
okay. Thank you. When I transition, I can look back at the time as this person here, and I
Yes.
can jog back and forth in the time of that person and see, hear, feel what this person now is
It's
experiencing.
not just this version of you. You feel everything. Everything around you, every person around you, everyone that you might have not been so nice to. You get to experience everything.
Thank you. On the same topic, I think it seems to me, Ethan, that as we have more and more calls, I already know the question to ask, and I already know what the answer is going to be, as if it's fed to me before it's even spoken by myself or yourself.
It's because we are speaking to your higher mind.
Right.
Much of the audience that is taking in these types of transmissions, they will report similar goings on, where they are starting to actually experience the conversations before we actually have them. Because we are connecting to all of your higher minds at this time. That is why the channel, when he goes through these things, he is heats up drastically, because he is channeling higher forms of energy at this time because his system can handle it now.
Yes, thank you. And I feel that heat as well.
Yes, you are going into the channeling state as well.
Yes. And I do feel that although more faint, I do have conversations with the people on the feed, and selecting the questions or the order of them, for example, is always perfect. Somebody just mentioned here, hey, what about my question? And then when I look at the question, that would have been, I was able to put that question in the right time, in the right
Yeah,
sequence.
yes, because you know synchronistically everything shows up exactly as it needs to and when it needs to.
Right. So the question showed up on time. The neighbor on the deck showed up on time. That bottle in my hand showed up on time.
Yes,
And
synchronistically. It's
yes,
all synchronistically.
yes. And some of these days, I feel like the entire day is like this.
Yes,
Most days.
as you move forward energetically into your world, you will start experiencing your whole reality like a dream.
Yes, it does feel like that.
You ask what the idea of being in fourth density at higher frequency is like. This is it. You experience your whole reality as a dream.
Thank you. Okay. Antonio Piers, will we change to 5D on this life? Thanks.
When you die, you mean? You are shifting into fourth density, not fifth dimension. Fifth dimensionality, fifth density is purely non physical.
Thank you.
If you're talking about shifting to fifth density by the end of this life, then yes, you will shift into fifth density, which is pure non physicality when you transition to being not alive anymore.
Thank you. Diamond Mind. Do the chakras need to be cleared from the ground up, or is it possible to still access the higher lens with the lower ones partially blocked?
No, you must allow yourself to let go of the particular charges and the particular things. You may not necessarily need to revisit past activities and past experiences, but the idea is allowing yourself to be fully aligned in your being and who you are will allow you to send higher vibrations and higher frequencies much faster than you would if you were purely operating on old systems, old ideas, and old ways of being.
Release that story.
Well, allow the particular energy that is holding that you have allowed to hold you back to actually let go of the charge. You notice that the channel, as he sits in front of you, the connection between him and us has become much more clean in nature, correct?
Correct.
Well, recently he has gone through the process to eliminate and let go of the particular charges that go along with the previous energy he had held on to. So, therefore, the types of communications we have now are much more clear because he has allowed himself to be cleaned out and let go of those past experiences and learn from them what they needed to and then moved on.
Thank you. Let me continue this thought here. What if someone had an argument or altercation or got assaulted, physically or not physically, caused harm by another person? Is
Yes,
it possible for the person that was attacked in whatever way to completely release that harsh feelings against the person that came at them?
yes. Do you want to let go of it? That's your choice.
Thank you. Okay.
No one's saying you have to let go of those things, but if you would like to ascend to higher frequencies, you can't hold on to the past experiences or allow them to affect you anymore.
Right.
It is okay to have emotions. It is okay to decide that you do not appreciate the way people treat you. But at the same time, You don't need to hold on to those past experiences, because if you would like to move forward as a world, as a civilization, as people individually or collectively, those things that were applicable for you in third density are no longer applicable for you at that higher frequency.
Thank you.
This is why you've been going through the process for the last few years. That has been very challenging because you are and have shifted to fourth density, but you are letting go of those old stories.
Very true. And I believe these days more than ever, people are willing to look at how they've lived their lives and how they manage their lives in
Yes.
all aspects, and to see if it works for them anymore, or maybe there's time for a new way to do these things, new system, new ways, everything.
Yes. That is why we are doing these types of communications, these transmissions with you to help you decide whether or not you'd like to continue on with your old stories.
Correct. And really, the only thing that holding here is on one hand, people's fears, and the other is the people that feed them with the fears.
Yes, the more you recreate the fears themselves, the past experiences as to, I am not being held back by this thing, the more you create experiences of those things, it reinforces the idea. The less attention, the less desire that you give to yourself to actually live that particular way, you'll no longer see these types of experiences anymore.
Thank you.
But you have to be willing to let go of these particular ideas.
Right. And that's an emotional process.
Allow the energy to dissipate. This way, you can move on to a new aspect of your life.
Thank you. And we do see a lot of centers popping all over the world, whether they offer some sort of spiritual journey. Sometimes it has to do with plant medicine, sometimes not. It doesn't matter. There's lots and lots of these places I see popping up in various festivals and activities to help people be all they can, be who they
Yeah.
are.
Yes, this is the idea. This is the time period you are transitioning into. This is the time period that you all have come to say that I am shifting to fourth density. Understand that the idea, because you are coming from a lower frequency to a higher frequency, dimensionality wise, density wise, it takes time. Compared to my species, we are shifting to pure fifth density. It takes us 6 months.
Mm.
Whereas humans, because the period you are coming from and the frequency you're coming from, to fully transition, it will take at least a few decades.
Right.
But you are going to live those few decades regardless.
Yes. The neighbor, before I came down, asked, "So how long is it going to take?" And I said, "It's probably going to take a couple of generations, 40 years, give or take." She said, "Oh, that's too long." I said, "No, it's wonderful. Like, we get to
That is a
experience,
short time.
we get to be here."
That is a much shorter time than you would actually assume. Because many of you, as you go along, as you may have transitioned out of the particular incarnation that you are currently inhabiting or moving through, you will come back on the other side of the transition. You will come back and have another experience of Earth after the experience of the idea of transition.
Mm. A future incarnation from now.
Another incarnation. There is no future, there is no past.
Right. Thank you.
Give us a few more questions and we will finish for today.
Thank you. Okay, I have one here. Ethan, when I was listening to Ra spoke of two ways, two paths to fifth dimension and above. One is service to self, and one is service to others.
Yes.
Would you mind explaining a little bit about that?
The service to others is a much faster path. The idea of allowing yourself to be more collectively focused, where you allow yourself to serve the whole by allowing yourself to be fully yourself and allow yourself to fully expand into the collective and allow yourself to integrate in a way that's more cohesive to all. By seeing yourself and doing those things as service to all rather than just service to yourself, you may need to take one or the other. Either one will get you to the same place, but serves to self is more of a slower path where you must become more introspective in nature and allow yourself to be fully integrated as you go along, whereas service to others allows you to fully expand your awareness much more rapidly because you are working at a higher frequency with more than just your own energy.
Thank you.
They all lead to the same path. All spiritual paths really do.
Right.
But it's allowing yourself to fully see that.
Yes, thank you. That's a very nice way to put it. I recall Ra mentions that to Don Elkins. So service to self is 95% focused on self, and
Yes.
service to others is 51% focused on others.
Yes.
Now I'm thinking, are these real like hard numbers? How do you measure it, or is the intention behind it?
It's the intention behind it. There are no true hard numbers in that sense that you must do this exactly thing 50% of yourself. It's just when you go the route of of service to others, you allow yourself to fully expand and serve others and serve yourself at the same time.
Thank you. I'll take one last question here from the audience.
Yes.
Uh, okay, this one. Dolores Cornea. When I crochet some projects, it seems the project determines the design, not me. Is there a predetermined project?
No, but you are receiving information from your higher mind as to what to create. You are in a meditative state that you are allowing yourself to channel the information as to what you would like to, what your higher mind would allow you to create and bring through into the world. You are physically manifesting a thing from non physical space.
Beautiful. Thank you for today, Ethan. Perhaps a closing words on our subject story. What's your story?
Look at your stories in your daily life. Look at those experiences you have with others and allow yourself to decide whether or not those old stories you have bought into are really you, or whether they are the stories that have been brought over by others that you learned from when you were growing up. We would suggest if you look or listen to someone who expresses fear on a much more rapid base, allow yourself to fully look at what they are saying. If it's something that truly resonates with you or a particular fear that you have held onto that is really you, or is it something you're taking from other people? So, your story, what stories are you buying into, and what stories really belong to you, and what stories belong to other people? It's your choice. We bid you good day.
Thank you very much. Good day.